me. They're in vicinity to me. That means my neighbor, I can walk across my yard to my neighbor's house. That means if I walk down the block, there's another neighbor, another neighbor, another neighbor. They are in vicinity to my community. My community has a name. And everybody in this community is in vicinity to me. But if I go over to the next community, it has another name. And oh God, this is God, because I didn't even have this planned in my notes. It is in vicinity to them. And so for so often and for so long, quite frankly, we have been focused on things that are out of our reach. But what is within our reach is our relationship with God. Oh, God, help me with this. What is within our reach is our vicinity. What is within our reach is our community. Have you checked on your neighbors lately? Are your neighbors okay? Is your community okay? If something goes down, are y'all in it together? If you need something, can you go borrow some flour like the old school, like my mama and them used to do? My mama and them used to be able to borrow sugar from each other. They used to be able to borrow a cup of flour from each other. My mama and them used to be able to borrow buckets of water from each other if something went down and the electricity was off, run extension cords from house to house. Oh, y'all don't hear me though. Y'all don't hear me because we've gotten so entitled in this culture. We've gotten so entitled in this culture, and things have come so easy to us. Even though we think we're in a struggle, we're not in a struggle today like our parents used to be in. We're not in a struggle today like their parents used to be in, their grandparents used to be in. We're not in a struggle today. When, like my husband's grandmother, who had to drive the neighborhoods just to make it 2, 3, 4 hours away because there was no highway. Like our grandparents who had to walk for hours, like us as kids who had to walk for hours because there was no school bus system. They closed the schools in our communities, but there was no busing system. No, we had to take public transportation to get to the private transportation. And so I share that with you because we are at a time in our lives where there's no time greater than this time that we need to be focused. There's no time greater than this time. God, help your prophet with her words, God. Help these words to be pleasing to your ears, God. Help these words that are released from your prophet's mouth, God, be acceptable in your sight, God. We are at a time in our lives right now where we are still running off of the hope that we had from last season, where we are still living off the portion that we had from other seasons, our portion of peace, our portion of understanding, our portion of grace, our portion of faith. We are in a different season, and there's no time like other in our lives that we currently, at the sound of my voice, are hearing. There's no time more than ever that we need to be close to God, that we need to hear from God. How do we hear from God? How do we get faith? Faith comes from hearing God. And to hear God, we need to read our word. And I don't know, but I know that we have this thing called social media church. And we have all these different spiritual entities. And we have these different belief systems. But I serve a mighty God. And I serve a mighty Jesus. And I don't know about anybody else, but if that's all I have left to believe in, if that's all I have left to believe in when believers of God and of Jesus are being attacked, haunted, down, discouraged, if that's all I have left, God, that's enough for me. Your words are enough for me, God. And so, God, I just pray that whoever is hearing this word, that you would help them to be where they need to be in this season, for what this season calls for what right now today calls for. If you ever read your word, you would, oh God, help me with this, because this is for somebody. If you ever read your word, you know how you have to read your word, and then in your word, when you read your word, there's also a commentary. And so even when there's exegetes, there's commentaries, right? And so, if you have to go to different theologians' versions of what the word says, And then also you have to rely on your faith, your discernment, your understanding, because some books of the Bible have been removed. So if you read your word, it doesn't tell you everything. And that's why we can't believe everything that we're seeing right now. And we can't say everything that we're hearing right now. As believers, there's this thing called spirit that we communicate with each other that way. And we talk to each other that way, because not everything is for what is happening today. Not everything is for Chat GPT. And if we speak it, recognize that the enemy hears in the same way as our angels are trying to help us. Our God is trying to help us, right? In that same way, the enemy is trying to convince us, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what you should be doing. And I don't know about y'all, but I feel like the world has kind of left me hanging. And where do we go when we feel like the world has left us hanging? Where do we go when we feel like our spouse has left us hanging? That person that I believed in, that they said that I could trust them, that they said that they would always have my back. Where do I go when I can't depend on them? Where do I go when my body didn't heal as fast as I thought it was going to heal? Where do I go when I don't hear God speaking to me about what my purpose is supposed to be, or what direction I'm supposed to take, or who I'm supposed to keep in my life or release from my life? Where do I go? I don't know about anybody else, but I go to the Word. And I don't just go to where everybody else is going, because, baby, let me tell you something. You ever seen people running in the wrong direction of a tsunami? You ever seen people driving in the wrong direction, right into a storm, right into a tornado? You ever see somebody who sees a sign that says, danger, road failure ahead, and they just keep on driving? I don't know about y'all, but I'm not in a season of my life where I'm following the paths, okay? I am tuned in. I am tapped in. If I see you with a smaller, because let me tell you, wisdom don't travel with paths. Wisdom, I want to be surrounded by people who got small communities. I want to be surrounded by people who are selective in who they surround themselves with. I don't know about somebody, but if y'all on this live and you hearing this right now, and you're the kind of person who are like, my circle is small, what can I do to change it? They don't change it. Don't change it. Don't change your circle. Change the people in your circle, and allow the people in your circle to change you. Start there. Start there with your portion